keep watch at night while the other two were closed. Sad to say, these precautions were not entirely unnecessary. Lady Araminta, the possessor of several other, more notable names besides, here omitted for discretion, had been caught twice trying to climb out her window, and once in her father's library, reading a spellbook. On this last occasion, she had fortunately been discovered by the butler, a reliable servant of 15 years, so the matter was hushed up, but it had decided her fate. Her father's senior wife informed her husband she refused to pay for the formal presentation to the court necessary for Araminta to make her debut. "I have 5 girls to see established besides her," Lady D said, "and I cannot have them ruined by the antics which are certain to follow." Lest this be imagined the fruits of an unfair preference, it will be as well to note here that Araminta was, in fact, the natural daughter of her ladyship, and the others in question her daughters in marriage, rather than the reverse. "It has been too long," Lady D continued, severely, "and she is spoilt beyond redemption." Lord D hung his head. He felt all the guilt of the situation, and deserved to. As a youth, he had vowed never to offer prayers to foreign deities such as Juno, and out of obstinacy he had refused to recant, so it had taken 3 wives and 14 years to acquire the necessary son. Even then, the boy had proven rather a disappointment, sickly and slight, and as he grew older, preferring of all things literature to the manly arts of fencing or shooting, or even sorcery, which would at least have been respectable. "But it is rather messy," young Avery said, apologetic but unmoving, even at the age of 7. He had inherited the family trait of obstinacy in full measure. It is never wise to offend foreign deities, no matter how many good old-fashioned British fairies one might have invited to the wedding. Meanwhile, Araminta, the eldest, had long shown more aptitude for riding and shooting than for the cooler arts, and had a distressing tendency to gamble. Where her mother would have seen these inappropriate tendencies nipped in the bud, Lord D, himself a notable sportsman, had selfishly indulged the girl. He liked to have company hunting when he was required at home to do his duty to his wives, and with 3, he was required more often than not. "It is not too much to ask that at least one of my offspring not embarrass me on the field," had been one of his favourite remarks when chastised. So while her peers were entering into society as polished young ladies, beginning their study of banking or medicine, Lady Araminta was confirmed only as a sportswoman of excessive skill, with all the unfortunate results heretofore described. Something, of course, had to be done, so a match was hastily arranged with the colonial branch of a similarly exalted line. The rumours she had already excited precluded an acceptable marriage at home, but young men of good birth, having gone overseas to seek a better fortune than a second son's portion, often had some difficulty acquiring suitable wives. In those days, the journey took nearly 6 months, and was fraught with considerable dangers. Storms and pirates both patrolled the shipping lanes. Leviathans regularly pulled down ships, mistaking them for whales, and strange fevers and lunacies thrived amid the undersea forests of the shallow sea, where ships might find themselves becalmed for months above the overgrown ruins of the drowned lands. Naturally, Lady Araminta was sent off with every consideration for her safety. The Bluegill was a sleek, modern vessel, named for the long, brightly painted iron spikes studded in a ridge down her keel to fend off the Leviathans, and armed with no fewer than 10 cannon. The cabin had 3 locks upon the door. The eunuch lay upon the threshold outside, the maid slept to either side of Araminta in the large bed, the chaperone had a cot at the foot. And as the last refuge of virtue, she had been provided at hideous expense with a Tiresian amulet. She was given no instruction for the last, either in its use or in how it would act to preserve the virtue in question, and only told with great emphasis to always keep it in its box and put it on...